A little while ago we talked about A Job for a Cowboy track off of a new album that would be coming out entitled Sun Eater. That's what I hold in my hand right now. It's here, it's out, you can get it, you can purchase it, you can consume it, you can love it. Job for a Cowboy is a very unique band, considering throughout the course of their now 4 full-length albums, it's been kind of a strange journey. Some people would say that their first album really followed a more deathcore style convention, and they were actually one of the bands that were considered to be an early stalwart in the genre, and then they kind of just changed up with Ruination and then with Democracy from 2012, and really influenced a little bit more of the death metal style of a more traditional light, as opposed to really standing pat with having more of a deathcore lean, or at least somewhat of a deathcore lean. The result was actually that Ruination sold very, very well, but with Democracy, whenever people started to realize that this was the direction that they were going to be sticking with, the sales actually declined. They went from debuting at number 42, I believe, with Ruination on the top 200 charts to, I believe, somewhere in the 80s with Democracy. Sales dropped from 10,600 to 4,800, I believe. Why? I don't understand why, considering this sound, this direction that they've been taking has actually made them a more complete band. It's actually made them a much better band, one that perhaps may be treading a little bit more toward some of the typicalities of metal, but at the same time, one that's actually given them a lot more freedom musically and compositionally. Sun Eater actually really follows along that idea. We were talking about Son of Nihility whenever it first came out, and how this is a band that really felt very prime, and it sounded like they were very poised in order to make another great record, but one that actually could be their standout, their real genre breaker, their real game buster, the one that actually takes them over the top and really showcases that they're here to stay in this version. There's a bit of technicality on this album, one that's definitely not shedding skin from, that were previously there. However, it is something that definitely showcases itself as a little bit more of the forefront, a little bit more of the illumination point, as opposed to just being a fixture in the background, or something that they're able to add on to their sound to further develop their death metal or any sort of approach that they had prior to that. The nice part about this album right here, 9 tracks, a couple of them do eclipse the 6-minute mark. It's not over 50 minutes. It doesn't overstay its welcome, but it's an album that definitely is able to be very direct and very forceful, yet at the same time also take some time to really expand the overall body of these songs and actually work with them a little bit. One of the things that I feel a lot of traditional death metal bands get into the habit of doing, it's a pitfall, but they get into the habit because of the idea of traditional and conventional death metal, is that they feel that they have to make their songs a certain way, and in a certain tempo, and a certain style, and that deviation from that, of too wide of an arc, is considered dangerous. It's considered very, very dangerous. It actually runs them the risk of some people abandoning the band. That's not necessarily true. This is something where you're able to really explore different tempos and actually explore a more technical side. You can be very furious while at the same time also having that's got a lot more melody and a lot more pace to it, a slower pace. Something where you can really tread this line very, very easily, considering death metal has become such a vast, vast marketplace of evil incarnate, if you really want to go that far. This band really explores a lot of those traditions on here. The harsh vocals are still simply there and simply stellar. S's, they are a bitch. And musically speaking, this is a group that, as I mentioned earlier, is embracing a little bit more of that technical side that really gives them just another facet. It gives them another little link in the chain of what they're able to really accomplish and how they're able to really evolve and give themselves a lot more flavor as the years go on and as the albums start stockpiling up. This technical side is actually one that makes me think about albums such as Omnivium by Obscura. Bands that have been traditionally very high up on end-of-the-year lists. It makes me also think a little bit of the Faceless in some ways. Almost as though this is a band that's really taking a look toward these bands and these albums and realizing that they might not be selling as well as, the deathcore and the metalcore and maybe some of the things that Job had been experiencing with during their very first albums or their very first songs. You know, the Faceless and Obscura, they're not selling anything near a Whitechapel or whatever, but they're damn good records, and this is something that helps Job for a Cowboy really establish a further identity, something that actually furthers their identity a little bit further, to really include this technical side that was already present, something that really isn't all of that far from what they were already doing, but something that definitely seems a little bit more illuminated. These 9 tracks really flow nicely too. I mean, there's definitely a lot of differentiation that you can gather from the tracks, and especially whenever you see a track that's going to have a longer runtime, you know that there's going to be a little bit more of a density to this. There's going to be a little bit more of a layering to this. There's going to be some more exploration. You're going to see these tracks take on a living world of their own. At times, I feel that they do definitely resort to a little bit more of the lower tempo, a little bit more of the slower tempo, whenever they want to expand some songs and expand and really showcase their technicality, almost like it's something that they can't really do on a quick little 3-minute song. This is something where I believe that as the band continues on this journey, where they continue to write together, and if they continue on this direction, if that is indeed their chosen course in the sea of metal, that will become a lot better. It will become something that they can do just as easily as anybody else. I feel like this is also an album where they were really exploring this side of themselves a lot more, so this is almost by design as opposed to just being a pitfall that they encountered and sadly fell for the trick. I like this album a lot. I'm not as crazy about it, I think, as a lot of other people are. A lot of the people that were talking to me, begging me to review this album, had a lot of real excitement toward this disc. And it is a crushing disc. It is certainly one that has a lot of great element to it. And I would definitely hazard to say that this may be one that is able to upclip Democracy a little bit. I think it's actually a little bit better. But that being said, I'd probably give it an 83 out of 100. It's not one that really grasped and held my attention completely. It's one that actually feels a little bit more like a conventional record as opposed to having so many uniquities to it that it really sets it apart. What I fear for Job for a Cowboy is that whenever they enter into some of these positions and these sides of themselves, they will grow as a band, and they will grow as far as evolution is concerned musically. But I'm fearing the danger that they'll start to sound like the conventional bands within the sub-genre that they're able to explore. I feel like they may not stick out nearly as much, and that perhaps may be the reason why this is a band that's experienced a bit of a sales decline, where there definitely seems to be a spike downward, almost like it's hanging from the top of a cave. I don't think that should be. I think that this is an album that should be consumed. It should be purchased. I think you guys should definitely pick it up. These guys are a band that really deserves it. An 83 is no slouch. This is definitely a damn good record, a damn decent record. What did you think about it? I know a lot of you guys are talking really, really high on this disc. Why? Why did you like this disc so much? What about it really captivated you? Let everybody know in the comments. You're not just telling me. You're telling all of the nation. You're telling every last goddamn one of them that views this video, and all the people that have not been a member of the fold yet. Maybe tell them a reason why you're a member of the nation and why you want them to be a member of the nation as well. Job for a Cowboy, great disc. Really, really enjoyed it, guys. Thank you very much for that. I hope that you guys continue to explore yourselves, because you made a fan out of me based around you doing that. Thank you.